to our special call board meeting today, July the 18th at 6 p.m. here at the central office. We need a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, which would have been June the 20th.
I make a motion to approve the previous minutes, June 20th.
Hang on, there was something I saw in there. It was weird. Oh, there's one motion that was passed that Mr. Stanfield voted on, even though he was not here. All the rest he's marked as absent. So that's order, it's the second one.
Did notice that. Can you pull that up, Susan?
Yeah, give me just a second here.
Yeah, see, actually the approval of the agenda.
Okay.
So that needs to be corrected that he's absent.
Okay, now I've got him marked as absent in here.
So if you go down to the second, oh, okay, never mind.
Okay, on our copy on here, it's showing on that particular order
Okay.
that he voted. It may just have been a typo correction. Okay, is everybody cool with that?
Okay, now what it's showing on 9 member votes, it says Mr. Daniel Stanfield is absent.
So just have the approval of the agenda.
Yeah, I've got a motion for agenda as submitted. And then it's got that Esther gave the first motion and you seconded. But that it's got his name on there, but it shows that he's absent.
No, that's on
No.
the second one. Never mind. Okay,
Okay.
we'll just we'll get the correction made. So,
Let's get, in that case, then I second.
okay, so we have a motion and a second with the approval of making sure that Mr. Stanfield is listed as absent. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now we need the approval of the special call meeting agenda today. Yes.
That we approve the agenda for today's special call meeting.
I second that.
Okay, so we have an approval for the meeting agenda as presented. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right, under presentation, we start out with board member comments. Esther?
I have no comments.
Jennifer? All I can say is I went to go see Singing in the Rain Junior, which your daughter was in, and there were some other Danville kids, and it was nice seeing the production. So always good to see our kids involved in the community. So, and I'm going to turn this over now to the superintendent for his comments.
I don't have many comments. I do want to share, I want to try to make a effort to each month share just a list of activities that happen throughout that month. So that's really all I have. I am excited about the things that are going on through summer school.
Yes.
The kids are really active and doing some great things. I've been able to see our lemonade stands, and kids are doing some cool stuff. Also, I'm excited that looks like we have a volleyball coach. I think it was put in place on Friday, so I'm excited about that.
That's good.
It's like he's comes with a quality resume from pipe areas, so I'm very excited to have him on board. And lastly, there's been a lot of kids doing a lot of great things at camps. So football had a really cool tweet today that was really encouraging, and a lot of our kids in the arts, like you mentioned, do some good stuff. So that's all I have.
All right, that's perfect. Generally, we have recognition, which we do this month, this meeting. I'm going to turn this over again to Dr. Ross.
So this is a very cool thing. I asked Ms. Robin Kelly to come today. I got a letter from Owen Saylor, who is an amazing school and district leader throughout the state, but he sent this letter to me. He says, I write to inform you of Robin Kelly's recent completion of KASA's School Human Resource Leadership Program. The KASA School Human Resource Leadership Program is a year-long, 4-session series of professional learning events designed to provide in-depth training and networking around the extensive list of legal and policy-based personnel topics. Each module focuses on issues, laws, policies, and HR best practices that school administrators address on a regular basis, particularly school human resource directors. At the end of the 4 modules, a written test is administered to ensure the fidelity of the program. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to you that Robin passed this assessment with flying colors. The successful completion of this program is a clear indication that Robin values professional growth and is dedicated to continued excellence of your school district. I request a letter of this copy be placed on your agenda for the next board meeting. And that's here. And he also said thank you for allowing Robin to attend this program.
Excellent. Robin, if you'll come up so you can.
Oh, shucks.
Hang on. Get Jennifer in there. Fantastic. All right. Now that we're through with recognitions, go to the personnel notifications. I'm sure you all have been able to look at those. If you have any questions or whatever, please refer those to Dr. Ross. Okay. And now we will be at reserve for the public. Mel, you want to come up first? If you would, just introduce yourself.
My name is Melody, and I have a child at Tolliver. What I want to speak tonight about is the bullying that's going on in our schools. My daughter's rights were violated countless times. I have emails where I asked countless times to have meetings with not Dr. Ross, but the superintendent that was then. My daughter was bullied by 2. I finally got in contact with Dr. Ross once his term started, and he was kind enough to actually answer me. Dr. Thomas did speak with me, but countless times I was told that this is an isolated incident. Isolated incidents count as 1 time, not 4 to 5 documented times. I have witnesses about kids are being bullied at an alarming rate at this school system. I can give you 3 parents right now who have wrote me testaments that they left Danville School District when Bull County opened up and willing to pay, one of them paying $600 tuition to send their kids to Bull County because of what's going on in this school system. We're more concerned about anything else but what truly matters, and that's our students. And shame on everybody for not caring about our students. And you can't tell me that you do, or this would have been taken care of months ago when this happened to my daughter. I begged and begged for meetings so it wouldn't have to come to a board meeting. And I was never given a meeting. I have the emails. I was told that this is an adult issue. An adult issue is not kids laying their hands on other kids and screaming at them. It's not calling a kid who has curly hair ugly and pig-headed. That's not what that is. And for anybody to think it's okay, it's ridiculous. I have numerous people who have wrote me testaments saying what's happened to their kids. They've emailed school personnel and nothing's happened. Emails aren't sent. We can't get phone calls back. When this happened to my daughter, I had to contact the school. I actually had to get in contact with Dr. Thomas, and he had to have them call me because none of my phone calls were ever returned. Not a one. And to think that this is okay, this is not. We have kids leaving Danville at an alarming rate. And you can't tell me we're not. We all see the numbers. We all talk. We all see each other out in the community. This is absolutely atrocious what's going on with our kids. Nobody talks to the parents. I bet nobody has reached out to any of the parents to find out why they've left. Now, I may get into a lot of trouble and my name gets slandered, and that's fine, but my daughter will not be bullied. I'm not a coward, and I will stand up for her, no matter what. And if anybody has an issue with it, my name is on Infinite Campus, and you can find me along with my phone number, and I'll be more than happy to discuss everything that happened with my child. My child is 9 years old. She excels at school. She is a smart kid. She's a heck of a baseball or softball player too. She has worked her butt off this summer to do better at stuff that she's struggling with. To not want to come to Danville this coming school year. And for anybody to ever see their kid feel that way, it's a shame. I own a house in Bull County too, and I can send my daughter to Boyle. And I'd be happy to if this can't be fixed. But this is a shame. That grown far beyond the measure of me, why anybody would think that's okay. But it is terrible. Bullying leads to depression, it leads to suicide, and it leads to everything else. And my child will not be a statistic because Danville Independent Schools failed her. If there's any questions, I can show you everything you need. And if I need to pursue more, just let me know and I will. I'll be happy to.
Okay, well, Melanie, I appreciate coming to the board. Please get with Dr. Ross
I've spoken with him.
and continue.
And I also want to say, I do want to sit down and meet with you, and I've asked just to give me a time.
Yes.
So, and we'll make that happen.
And I didn't see that email till actually the other day, when your other email came through that you approved it. For some reason, it didn't pop up.
Okay.
But I get it. I get we can't control everything for school. And I tried for months to get meetings, to get this settled. But I was always told no. I have at least 3 to 4 emails where the personnel at Tolliver told me no.
I promise
shame
you,
on them.
We will meet soon.
They should feel really guilty for what
Based
they've
on your
done.
schedule, we will meet.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right. Susan? Ms. Weston?
I brought things. There's 2 different things, so you can share them around if you want. If you would, that would be great. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm Susan Weston, proud mother of 3 Danville High School graduates, 32-year resident of the district. Speaking just for myself as a person very concerned about keeping this horrible virus from doing us any more harm than we can hold off. So I was here a few months ago to talk about air quality, and I thought I'd come with a couple of more specific things. This one is right from the U.S. Department of Education to give you a little academic push behind what I'm saying. But what I thought I'd bring you was something shorter and more concrete. This virus is airborne. Someone inhales it, someone else can draw it in. It's better with vaccine, but we don't all have vaccine, and the vaccine wears off, and the variants keep coming, and it's going to mess with us for the rest of our lives. So the question is, how much can we slow it down? I don't think we're helpless. And I want to appeal to you as folks responsible for big groups of people in shared rooms for long periods to think about taking a big step up on air quality. We know outside is safer. We can make indoors almost as safe as outdoors from this horrible thing. Long term, it would be great to do that with a sophisticated ventilation system that would just pull outdoor air in, or if that's not possible, filter it right through the regular ventilation system. Short term, that's a hard thing to do. So what I want to suggest is there are devices of 2 kinds that can also do this for our kids and make it easier to keep them in classrooms and keep staff in the classrooms with the kids. Because for some school systems, that was a big problem last year. Couldn't have enough teachers, couldn't have enough substitutes. Some places had to close for a few days for lack of people. I think we can fend that off. There's 2 kinds of devices. That's one. That's the store-bought variety sitting over here behind Mr. Ross. I brought it so you can see it isn't huge. That's about a $200 device. There's actually a device which may not be quite as durable, but is probably more effective, where you get a set of HEPA filters and you put them together with duct tape and a fan. That's called the Corsi-Rosenthal box. Mr. Corsi is the dean of an engineering school. These are serious people with background who have been working on this for about 1.5 years, that we can build them when the factories can't supply it. So I brought you on the back 2 ideas of how this could be done. If you wanted to set this up to have 180 of these, enough for every classroom, and 2 for each library, and a couple for the cafeterias, you could do the fancy store-bought kind for about $36,000. You could get the filters and the fans and tape them together for about $100 a piece. And I'm moderately confident you could find volunteers who would have fun coming in and doing it. If you do it that way in 6 months, you got to pull them apart and tape in new filters. But it's a video thing, I've seen 10-year-olds doing it. So that's 2 ways you could make that work. I tried to do a little imagining without actually being in classrooms about what would be better where. I think if you're thinking like grade 2 and under, where the kids are going to bump into them and you're going to have some time on what they should be doing with their bodies, those might be smarter. For big classrooms with big kids who are vulnerable to worse cases, the bigger Corsi Rosenthal hand-built might be better. And I also tried imagining, thinking about how you'd use them. If we're below 30 cases for the county, I'd let teachers decide. If we're between there and 60, I'd say have them turned on, but you don't have to turn them up high. That can get louder and more powerful. And remember that just to say when I'm suggesting 60 is the limit, last week's number for Boyle County was 76. We are way up there. We are past 200 cases per 100,000 by a bit, and we all know that's actually an underestimate. So using those numbers is already saying we can live with a lot of danger. Right? The numbers aren't quite right, but I would urge you to think about this as part of the plan to keep our kids in school. Good for their health, but also good for their learning. Any questions you want to ask me anytime, I'll be available, but I know that's not how this works. So I thank you for hearing me out again.
Thank you, Susan. Ms. Weston, really appreciate the information.
If anyone else would like copies of handouts, I have some more too. Put myself in there to do. That was sneaky, he wasn't. No. Sure anything?
All right. Okay, Ms. Ellison, I think we're going to go to you. How about that?
Sounds good.
You are on the seat of fire. How about
Oh, okay. Always. Happy fiscal new year, everyone. If we hit it fast and furious. I'm going to start with the financial report, the bank reconciliation, and just to kind of skim over that. We had $12.4 million in the beginning of the month. We ended up at around 10.1. Again, that was with all the disbursements and everything that we put out at the end of the fiscal year. And then you can see the cash balances, and the balance for all the accounts that we have, general, our special revenues, building funds, construction, food service, debt service, as well as daycare. And at the end, you see that we reconciled between the bank and what we had on our accounts with our outstanding checks and our outstanding debits. So we came in again, which matches up at 10.1. And then the next thing would be the balance sheet. So our assets and liabilities ended up obviously equaling out. So we had approximately 8.7 in assets, and then the rest was the same for the liabilities and the fund balances.
So just to explain, when you're saying assets, that's cash in the bank?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay.
We had, as a district, we pretty much pay everything on time, so there may be some purchase obligations that are outstanding that between the purchase requisition and by the time the invoice comes in, but our main things that accrue are the salaries. So, and we finished that up on the 15th, so everything should be closed out now. Ideally, if it wasn't for the fact that the end of the month and the end of the fiscal year ended at the same time, we wouldn't have that, what I call period 13, at that transition period.
But unfortunately, we can't do that. Yeah, we got payroll out. I have 2 new ladies in payroll, and so they're doing a fantastic job. And so if you all were paid for your services, and if you see them, please thank them, because they work so hard on getting that information out. And they wanted to make sure everyone got what they had coming to them to be able to make their bills on time as well. And on the monthly report, this is everything we've done for the month of July. It starts at the beginning and it goes through the end as far as collection of revenues, other local funds that we received, or state funds that we received, or federal funds. And it just goes through all of our salaries and our on-behalf payments and all those things that go along with it. We had a pretty ordinary month, except for the fact that our disbursements was quite large, just in that it was just us finishing out the end of the year. And Mary and I really worked hard and long hours trying to get everything paid, so we didn't have anything to carry over.
That's good. Does anybody have any questions or
Is it my turn?
comments?
I was just gonna say thanks for all your work in wrapping up the year and getting us off to a good start.
You're welcome. Without the other people in the department, it would not have been done.
But she and those 3 ladies were here last week, every night till after 6.
And on Saturday as well.
Did you have any?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I was trying to figure out if it was my turn to make a motion.
Okay, actually, it can be anybody's turn, so
We're
if you'd
just
like,
taking turns.
if you'd like to, go ahead.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the financial report as submitted.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of the financial report. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, Ms. Nelson, let's go down to the payment of invoices.
I loaded everything that we have taken care of for the month of July. I did send a copy to Miss Esther. She kind of reviewed it. She had a couple of questions. I don't know if she shared that information with you. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
No, I have no questions. I just had a couple things that I was gonna point out. First of all, buses are really expensive. Just wanted to let everybody know. We paid like $600 for a battery. So,
and there's more than one battery on
yeah, oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
By the way, too.
Yeah, there was a lot of money in there for buses. Nothing out of the ordinary. I appreciate it. It was a lot.
There's a lot more to each little component of school business and transportation. All those things come together, and it all hits our office.
No, and I appreciate you and Esther working together on that. I know Glenn was doing it before. And so what Esther does as part of the board is she gets with Kim before the meeting, and they go over any issues that may be there, or Kim will let her in on some things that may be coming up. So.
And I can just point out that we had it, our graduation expenses was on there. You can see Morton Center had several invoices on there. We also had just regular information on there, such as Walmart, field trips like for Shaker Village. We had bus repairs and maintenance, postage from Pitney Bowes, some reimbursements, some food products for our summer feeding program. Just
The corning payment was on there.
yes, but we did have the first of the 3 corning payments on there, and we have the other 2 scheduled and already encumbered in our system.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. So we need a motion, please.
I make a motion that we approve the finance report payment of invoices as submitted.
I Second.
So we have a motion and a second for the approval of invoices as submitted. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 5D, which is food service pricing. Tammy, Lynn, you want to speak to us about that? There's our extraordinary food service director.
Thank you. This is all new for me. I have 1 year under my belt.
Now, how much more do you need?
We had the administrative review this year. And with the fluctuation of state and federal funding that we received, we had to increase our lunch meals for adults. The state KDE lady that worked with me on the administrative review, she suggested that instead of bringing it to the board each time that we need to raise our adult prices, that we start using an adult meal calculator, which is put out by KDE. And that way it would be easier for any adjustments on the adult meals. And instead of bringing it before the board every single time, just go ahead and raise it and then let the board and the administration know that we had to raise it because of federal funding. So that's what I'm asking, is if we can go to the adult meal price calculator from now.
It seems to be okay with me with that option. I think would be good. And then it's something that obviously KDE looks at too.
Yes.
So, I'm good with that. Are you all?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay. So, is there anything else you want to?
That's
So what you have in front of us here is minimum required unrounded adult meal price for breakfast, okay? $2.73, correct?
yes.
And then the other one is unrounded for lunch, which would now be $4.58.
Well, as of right now, it's 482. It should be 485 rounding up to the next 5 cents.
Okay.
And
Because
how,
it changed again in January.
so how often are these changes? Is it once a year?
We never know. It depends on the reimbursement that we get back from state and federal funding. We cannot subsidize adult meals with what we get in reimbursement for children. And we get $4.82 per child for each lunch that they eat. And we get $2.87 for each breakfast that they eat now.
So what you're asking is that we would make a motion that you would be able to use the calculator
Yes.
regularly. And then the only thing I would ask on that is that you do inform us,
Yes, yes.
you know, whether it's through Kim or whoever it might be, that we would know that there's been a raise in prices. Do they ever go down?
Probably not.
I just thought I'd ask. I just thought I'd ask. So, okay. Are you all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve pricing as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second as to the pricing. It's been presented, and also to use the established formula that KDE uses
Yes.
on establishing the prices
Yes.
for the breakfast and the lunch. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Oh, before you, is summer feeding over?
No, we have till June the 29th.
Okay, so
So we're still feeding our children.
close. Okay, thank you. You've done a great job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we're moving down to the consent agenda. There are a lot of items there. We generally approve it without discussion unless there's a particular item that you all want to talk about. Okay. So
Okay, so
Go ahead.
let's, approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted without discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we need a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, or do you want,
Dr. Ross,
did you?
did you have anything?
I must have missed something. I thought we were gonna do this school supplies, but I guess it's further down.
It,
I actually put it in the wrong spot. because
I'm sorry, it didn't appear, and I can't add it to the agenda.
Okay.
But, Ms. Huddleston, let me ask you this, because we may not have to vote on it. The school supplies, you said it's in the budget, is that correct?
Honestly, you probably don't have to, because last year at this time, or last year in April, I think it was the April 2021 board meeting, I wasn't here,
Right.
but I went back and read the minutes. It was approved to purchase school supplies at that and use ESSER funds, the budget that way. So in theory, it's just a continuation of using the budget that way.
Okay, but this time we're not having ESSER funds, is that correct, or are we?
No, we will be utilizing, if you vote to purchase, we will be using ESSER funds.
Okay, and then the only thing I want to know too is there was almost a formula per school.
Okay.
Do you have all that?
I can try to track it down and make sure I do.
Am I correct on that, Ms. Kelly?
Each school, I think, was allotted so much per student, and so,
Yeah.
but my understanding was that that was for 2 years, because we had enough.
Well, and I was thinking back on all this, and I kept thinking we did it for 2 years because of the ESSER funds, so no, we really don't need to get an approval
Well, and it's
on
under
that.
consent agenda.
Well,
Does that matter?
it's not on here, though. We gotta
Oh,
go
okay.
back, okay? So, yeah, I'd say we can proceed. Vince, are you good with that?
I am.
Okay, so let's just proceed on. Okay, all right, so we need a motion, please, to go into executive session.
Okay, I make a motion to go into executive session per KRS 61.81F for purposes of discussing your hearings, which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee.
And actually, there's a typo, and there should be 61.810F.
Right.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay with amending my motion.
61.810F.
Would you put that down, Susan?
61,810.
A2F, A2F.
Okay.
61.810,
A10.
and then F in parentheses.
Okay. All right, I've got it.
Okay. So all those in favor of the motion to go into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.